Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis, and today we're going to be talking about Casper. It's been a while since I've actually updated you guys on Casper, and I know that a lot of individuals have been calling for an update on it. Well, guys, you finally got that. Honestly, I haven't been ignoring Casper. It's not because, I don't like Casper or anything like that. I know a lot of individuals think that just because I don't make a video on something that I've sold it or I don't like it or this or that. But honestly, that is not the case. I actually bought more Casper at roughly 3.5 cents on our recent major dip. We are sitting pretty right now. I mean, in terms of the price action, we're just kind of trading sideways. I haven't been really looking at the chart too much, but I do know that we are in a massive downtrend. And this has been in a massive downtrend for the last 3 months since going back to that nice little high that we made back in April. I know that, during the November timeframe, we made that high of like roughly almost 1 cents. And since then, it's just been in a massive downtrend as well. We've broken down below almost all significant lows and made new lows, which is totally fine. When you look at the overall chart, it's not like it's not a big problem right now that we are at these prices. In fact, when we look at the overall fib levels, this actually pushes them up even higher when we do break out. So I always welcome a little bit lower price action because again, not only does it give you an accumulation point to really kind of lower your average price, because trust me guys, when I say, hey, I am also down on a lot of my buy points on Casper as well. But for me, when we look at this chart, it's not, too bearish to me. We are trading against resistance right now, and there's not a lot of volume right now, which tells me that we could just be in a nice little accumulation phase at this bottom range here. Could we go lower? Yes. If Bitcoin does capitulate even lower, yes, Casper will hit some, significant lows, or it might even retest the low recently at almost 3 cents. So overall, from here, I think that these levels are, pretty significant to accumulate at. I mean, think about it like this, right? A 2x from here would essentially be, just 8 cents, which is honestly right around our, next couple fib levels. And even if you go to the all-time highs, which, I know that a lot of people kind of debate on what the all-time high is. A lot of people think that, roughly around this range up here at $4 is the all-time high. Some people are saying $60. I mean, honestly, to me, it's roughly around that dollar range in terms of the all-time high, which is still a pretty significant upside move. And when we talk about where we currently are on this price chart, I mean, think about like a 10x opportunity here from 40 cents. I mean, 40 cents, in my opinion, will most likely get targeted eventually. This is going to be a little bit of a time-consuming process, but it does give us a lot more time to accumulate, especially as we do kind of see the next major move up being pretty parabolic for Casper. And when we talk about that next major move up, when is that going to happen? Well, essentially, it all determines on what Bitcoin's going to do. And I've been talking to you guys a little bit about Bitcoin, just to give you guys a quick analysis on Bitcoin. Honestly, we are also trading against resistance right now on the Bitcoin price chart. I'm actually expecting us to come down and swoop these lows. I know that a lot of people were getting a little bit excited today, but honestly, you guys can see the resistance being met. The buy volume, there's some buy volume, but still I'm expecting a little bit lower on Bitcoin, which will most likely push Casper down to either 3 cents, 3.5 cents or so. And I will definitely be accumulating Casper around that range still, because again, I'm lowering my average cost, and if we can get 3 to 3.5 cents one more time, then hey, I welcome it fully. Overall, though, I do want to talk to you guys a little bit about the long, grueling process around some of these projects. So first off, we do see this tweet from the founder of Stacks. The process of building successful protocols is slow, steady, and boring. It's time for the turtles to shine. And this also does go for price action too. Like, in my opinion, price action will always be slow for the most part if we are in a Bitcoin-driven market, which we are, for a lot of these protocols that are not doing incredible things just yet. There's not a lot of announcements around Casper, but you could definitely see the things being built behind the scenes. And I've always addressed this around Casper as well. This is why I do believe that it is an incredible opportunity, even at these prices right now, and even at prices recently. That's why I didn't, feel too bad buying at 9 cents, 8 cents, 7 cents, and even all the way down to where we currently are now. I don't mind accumulating around this range because I do know that the long-term vision behind Casper is going to be pretty significant. Now, a few concerns that I do have around Casper is just the circulating supply. This is inflationary. It does increase roughly around like 8% year over year. But, again, a lot of these networks usually do have some sort of, supply release like that. But I still think that the 10 billion, the 10.8 billion total supply is nothing too significant, and it's going to take time to actually get to that point as well. And I think that the inflationary, aspect behind the supply is not too bad for the price action. I still think that the price action is going to increase significantly, and I still foresee a very incredible future behind Casper. But it's just going to take time. Price action does, take time on a lot of these projects. I mean, look at Hedera for an example. Absolutely the worst price action right now among a lot of altcoins, and it hasn't, really performed that well, similar to other assets in this market. And that's simply because it is boring. It's an enterprise protocol. These enterprise grade networks always get kind of thrown to the side because they are not doing this flashy marketing to the retail individuals, which again, we are actually seeing an update around that. We did see here at Casper Labs appoints Michael Dobek as company's first chief marketing officer, to drive business adoption of blockchain technology. He brings, proven experience in creating iconic brands for Fortune 100 technology, companies, and this just happened recently as well. This goes back to April, and I know that it's been a while since I've updated you guys on this, but this was something pretty significant as well, because when we talk about growth around a lot of these networks, specifically even price action, what really does drive the success of a lot of things? Well, it's marketing. You want to market something that is going to be flashy, not only for these enterprise grade, customers and, clients, but also you want to bring on the retail individuals as well. And how do you do that? Well, you do it through, intensive marketing. I think a lot of the successful networks within the space are, really successful because of the way that they market it to investors. I've always said this even around Solana, around ADA, around some of the top tier, assets within the space. I mean, Solana was one of the major ones that did get a ton of publicity during 2021, and a lot of retail individuals were FOMOing into it. Same with ADA. I remember ADA at $1 plus. I seen, friends on Facebook, investing into ADA, because again, when we look at a lot of these protocols and these networks and things like that, these projects get, almost fed to the retail individuals to, FOMO in. Again, when we talk about something like Casper, Casper is still very new. Casper is still one of the major assets in this market that I still feel confident accumulating. Casper is still my number one hold, and I've always addressed why Casper is my number one hold, because the upside potential on Casper is very significant. But we also did see a new partnership with Casper. This is from Incentive. This is a Web3 operating system, and we do see our Incentive has now officially integrated with Casper Network. More adoption of blockchain technology is just around the corner. I think that this is pretty significant as well as a partnership. We are seeing new partnerships within the Casper ecosystem, which I also love to see. Like I've said, price action might be slow, but as long as development is not slow, then that is a significant area to focus on. There's a major difference between watching, some assets kind of just trade sideways or trade in a downtrend while not seeing any updates from the team. Being able to see the growth still of the network is pretty significant when you are still seeing the price action kind of just trade sideways in a grueling process, because it kind of gives you the confidence on, okay, well, maybe I should accumulate this, because we are still seeing major, updates and partnerships happening around the team. So I kind of do still have that confidence around this. That's the idea that I have with a lot of these investments. That's how I even looked at Hedera as well. While HBAR, in terms of price has just been a massive downtrend and everybody's kind of losing confidence, I'm sitting here watching the updates come as well as the developmental updates. And when we look at things like that, I always remind you guys of Matic. You guys already know that Matic has been one of the major assets that I've, personally invested in. While everybody was jumping ship, I was just diving in. So again, when we talk about things happening with, a lot of these projects, I'm still very excited for them because of, these major updates that we see. And we actually did see here, Incentive.io, a protocol which enables developers to build their own decentralized exchange and offer comprehensive DeFi functionality, has announced that it is integrating Casper Network, a live proof-of-stake blockchain built off the Casper CBC specification. This integration means that any developers building on Casper will be able to set up their own excuse me, their own decentralized exchange and offer DeFi services such as staking pools, airdrops, lending, and yield products using the shared liquidity system that Incentive has set up with its users. So this is actually very, very significant when we talk about DeFi. I've talked to you guys about how massive that is for a lot of these networks. Casper still hasn't had, a DeFi offering on its network still. So when we talk about this, I do believe that this is going to drive more volume onto the network, as well as bring more developers over to enable these massive functionalities. So I'm very excited for this partnership, and I'm very happy about it. Also, we did see in terms of the Luna situation, a lot of these major networks calling for Luna developers to join their team, and we did see Casper really kind of show their incentivization for developers, similar dev environment, user friendly, matching features, additional value, fast track funding, and support. I still believe that Casper is a developer, one of the most developer-friendly networks out there. It is also one of the major choices for enterprise-grade customers. So I'm actually still excited to see where, developer-wise, is in about, roughly a few months to even, a few years. And when I say that, I don't mean that the price action is going to take a few months or a few years to really kind of be seen. I just think that when we talk about how massive this network will be in that time frame, is going to be pretty significant. This is one of the most, I would say this is one of the most bullish projects that I'm still eyeing to date. And we did see her. Don't miss a metaverse fireside chat with Verizon EVP and CSO Rima Qureshi. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. I'll probably butcher it still. But on day 3 of Blockchain Hub Davos. Now, Kevin Cage actually responded to this, and I seen the response, and I actually watched the video one last time because I remember watching this video back in April as well. But we do see here, Casper plus Verizon, global telecom, giant. Cliff Sarkin, COO at Casper Labs, about upcoming announcements, partnerships, what is being built on Casper Network, events that Casper team will attend, and many more. And I'm actually going to just play this out, and then I will wrap up the video. But listen closely to what Cliff is actually saying here.
All the big things are to come, and we're going to talk about some of that today. But we're only on a couple of the tier 1 exchanges. We have like 10 more to come, and we're not yet in the US, and that's to come on exchanges. DeFi hasn't launched yet. We don't yet have an NFT marketplace. A lot of the enterprise business development that we're doing right now are going to launch this year. So this is the stuff that I can talk about. Nucleus Finance, you'll be hearing more about, is a joint venture to really focus on the financial industry and banking in particular. Other things in the banking world that slow the process down and make it more expensive. The ones that I can't talk about are names that everyone's heard of. Like some of the biggest banks in Europe, some of the biggest telecommunication companies in the US.
And I love that he's just dropping massive alpha here. I mean, he's talking about banks, telecom, communication giants. I mean, it's just insane that people are still overlooking this.
Insurance companies, 2 of the largest, are both Fortune 500s. So, and not all of these deals become deals, like the enterprise pipeline. Sometimes they don't happen, and so it's hard to get definite about those. But and if any one of those launch, these are household names that everyone around the world knows, and so I can't wait till I can talk about it. Okay, so here's DeFi, right? There's the infrastructure that needs to be built. So when we launched Casper, when Casper launched in March of last year, we didn't have the DeFi infrastructure. In the same way, Phantom didn't when it launched, or Solana. And when you look at their token price graph, over time, it's flat for a long time, and then it spikes, right? 2-3 years in the case of some layer ones. This is because the infrastructure for their versions of ERC20, NFTs, marketplaces, or DeFi weren't yet built. But
and he's essentially just talking about how, some of these networks do take time to really kind of see the value behind them. But yeah, I mean, honestly, when we talk about Casper, I like the idea that he's talking about, how, these processes are really kind of slow a little bit. And then all of a sudden you see that major spike. But also he does mention how early we actually are into Casper. I mean, he's basically sharing with you guys that Casper just doesn't have all the flashy things that other networks have currently, which is telling you that you're essentially getting in on the ground floor I've always addressed this and I've always talked about it as well. I'm actually very excited just to see where Casper is. I mean, when we talk about things happening right now, I just like to see the development and the building process actually happening. I think that that's where we see a lot of these networks kind of fail. It's in terms of transparency around the project itself. So I'm still very confident around Casper. I'm still holding. I'm still buying. And yeah, I still will buy. I mean, no matter what the market is doing, no matter where the price action is, you know, I will still buy under, when we're talking about like my target points on Casper, it's still majorly over $1. So to me, I still look at these prices as extremely cheap. I still look at prices at even around 10 cents as extremely cheap. So to me, I don't mind at all. This is an investment to me. It's not a short-term play. I'm not trying to sell this on Friday. I'm trying to sell this, when the true value is derived. So with that in mind, I hope that you guys enjoyed this. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As it is up to you all, have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are on this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.